Okay, great. I think we are live also now. So is the screen visible and am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So guys, friends, welcome to session number 3, Financial Investment Journey. This is a series that
Sir, no voice is coming.
am I audible or not?
Voice ही नहीं आ रही है.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Rishabh, check at your end. There might be some problem at your end. Okay, guys, friends, welcome to session number 3 of Financial Investment Journey. This was a series I started 2 weeks back. For people who are actually confused कि आपने बहुत कुछ बता दिया, but how to actually start, how to actually give it a kick start or a head start or whatever way you can think of to begin your journey. So it is an endeavor in that direction. So I had thought it to wind up the same in 3 parts, but then yesterday or day before yesterday I was going through the presentation. I feel there are a few more things that I can add. So Monday would be the financial investment journey final part, 4th part. And those of you who are attending, you will ask me for the link that day. I will not post in the group. So, or else the other option, is to wait on the YouTube. So as usual, all my presentations will always begin with thanking the Lord Almighty, who's given me much more than what I deserve. And obviously, we have to thank Him for all the good and the bad, because some are blessings and some are lessons, only if we want to learn from them. So then when it comes to finance, I have to thank my dad as well. So this is his month going on. I always say June and August are his month, August being his birthday month, June being his death month, so death anniversary month. So yes, there are a lot of things coming up on 30th June. If you stay till the end, I'll notify all of you for the same. So this is my brief CV. You all are aware of it by now. So let's begin the investment journey. So some of you asked me why I made costing sessions private. There was a reason. Just look at this slide. What idea does it give you? This is a slide from a snapshot taken from a YouTube video. If you see, it is an episode 1 kind of a thing. So now even the slides of the YouTube presentations come in the memory of the YouTube channel, or sorry, on the Google as well. So whatever I have given about GPM and NPM, I don't want that patients should be picking up even in the Google search that half-hearted information or just the slide that whatever that is costing us and what the dentists are charging us. Actually, they won't listen or stay till the end to learn about the full repercussions of a GPM and NPM. They'll only pick up the needful thing, as people always do. They pick up things that they want to hear, listen, or say. So that is the reason I'll have made them private for this particular reason. And I will be making them public late night today, and they'll be open for 50 plus hours, 48 plus 2 days. So if you want to watch, you can watch those costing sessions. And people were actually confusing. People asked me for the link of this, and they were saying, sir, 5th part tak dekh liya. मैंने कहा boss, 3rd तो मैं आज कर रहा हूँ, तुमने कहाँ तक देख लिया? So costing is something else, financial investment journey is something else. That is related more to practice management. This is related to finances. So get your things in order, guys. Some of you are not following the groups, or you are opening after so many months, I would say. So get your house in order first. So this is webinar number 32. We are coming to the end of the MPG. It'll culminate by 30th June. So webinar number 3, the penultimate part. So what we have discussed so far, just have a glimpse of that. In the part 1, we discussed about the concept of financial fitness vis-a-vis physical fitness. Why is financial fitness important and why does it carries due importance? The differences, the prime differences between saving and investing. People didn't know much about that. And then key points to keep in mind before starting your investments. The investor inertia, how to overcome it. The 5 common behavioral biases that every investor should avoid. a few rules of thumb for investing, the rule of 72, 114, and many other, including the 15, 15, 15 for mutual funds as well. So then lastly, in the summary portion, I gave you the 5 things to know before you invest. So once we finished that, in part 2, we discussed or started having a discussion on portfolio construction, why investing was important and where to invest to begin your journey. What are the types of investments? That was the first step taken towards portfolio construction. I gave you the most popular top 7 popular investment options in India, and which option should you choose as per your age or other criterias I have discussed in detail. And how should you plan your investments whose returns don't matter, and how the decline in rupee can affect your investments. And finally, should you have gold in your portfolio? So these were a few things that were actually discussed. So now, once we have discussed these things in part 2, it is time to further dissect these as per your age. So let's begin. So today's part is the penultimate part, and the portfolio construction continues. Let us see the age barriers today. Because people say, सर आप बोलते तो हो पर मैं 25 साल का हूँ, 28 साल का हूँ, या मैं 48 साल का हूँ, या मैं 55 साल का हूँ. How do I distinguish? आप बोलते इक्विटी को इतना एक्सपोजर चाहिए, 80 माइनस एज वाली एज इज फाइन, बट व्हाट अबाउट द अदर थिंग्स? What about the other liabilities? Liabilities, responsibilities at different age are different. So how do you decide actually how to go about certain tasks at certain age? So this presentation over the next 90 minutes or so should dispel a few myths about that. And trust me, there will be a lot of hyperlinks, and those hyperlinks will be going towards loans, towards your health insurance, towards your term insurance, the things I have already discussed in detail. So wherever the discussion is there, I will not be taking up much in detail. Yes, some parts would require some parts to be discussed, some portion to be discussed, and I'll discuss that. So let's go ahead. So if you say I'm 30, or I just turned 30, or I will be turning 30, what is there to look forward to in such cases? So let me give you a few things. First of all, before I say discrete upon the age barriers or different age wise, let me give you a few essentials, I would say, you have to achieve before you turn 30. So that would mean that it is a requirement for the people who are in their 20s. So that is the thing I would expect all of you, or at least your siblings, your cousins, your friends who are in their 20s to do that. Turning 30 is sometimes a major event in someone's life. बोलते हैं ना 30 का हो गया, अब तुम मिडिल एज में पहुंच गए, जवानी खत्म हो गई. It's not exactly that, because 40 is the new 30 in today's times. And my batchmate Prabpreet Singh Kala from my college, he used to say, गोरे तो जवानी 40 पे होते हैं. So he shifted to Canada actually. So he got married even late at about 35. That मैं अब गोरा बन गया हूँ. I mean to say I'm a US citizen now. So मैं तो जवानी 40 पे होऊंगा. So there are a few things which you actually need to take care of when you turn 30 years old. Number one is have the right term life insurance. We all know the world is uncertain. Before the advent of 2021, not 2020, but 2021, people didn't know that second wave would come this bad in India. First wave had its share of things. Yes, there were so many deaths in India, close to 90,000, 80, 90,000 in the first wave as well. But then the COVID didn't create a scarcity scenario of remdesivir or maybe the beds or the oxygen and other things that actually happened. But 2021, come March end, April start, there was mayhem, especially in the national capital, Delhi. Predominantly some parts of Noida, UP, even a few parts in Punjab as well, which faced shortages. So you never know. So many bread earners left their families, gave the data in the scenario of succession and estate planning on, and where I took a special session for that. What about the assets of those kids whose parents have left, both parents or one kid? So as per the government data, also more than 2,000 plus kids have turned orphan. So think of those 2,000 families who have no bread earners for them. So given this uncertainty, you all should have a life insurance, and it is the one thing that will take care of all the contingencies that is going to happen in your life. And if any untoward incident happens, the nominee gets the share. And trust me, a term insurance plan comes damn cheap. And it is predominantly needed for the breadwinners of the family, who are, if you are a sole earning member of the family, and especially if you have big liabilities like loans, etc., or a joint family to support, or maybe you're the elder sibling in your family, you need to take care of this part, that yes sir, this is much needed aspect. So many dentists, so many young dentists also lost their lives in COVID-2 wave. So we need to be covered with term insurance, surely. So what is term insurance? What are the details? There has been a separate full session taken, and that is already public on YouTube. So I'm not made that private. Nothing or neither of all the videos, neither of the videos has been made private, except those 3 videos of costing 345. So the premium is nominal in young age, before 30, and the cover is huge. Obviously, it will have a correlation with your ITR value also. अब आप कमा रहे हो 20 लाख और रिटर्न भरोगे 3 लाख की, तो फिर आपको कवर नहीं ना मिलेगा 50 लाख का, 100 लाख का, या 1 crore का. You have to be, your ITR should be in concomitant with that. So the premium will be on the lower side if you are taking that policy before 30 years of age. Then the second thing you always should be worried is availing the health insurance policy. Again, similarly, the world is uncertain, and we never saw the pandemic coming as well. So again, on health insurance, we actually took urgent sessions, 3 sessions, in fact, 2-3 detailed sessions, along with a separate critical insurance session, which was taken 2 months prior to that. So 4 sessions of 2 hours each with details of all kinds of health insurance has been covered. So if you are not taking health insurance, have not watched that video, then you are missing something in your life, even if you are 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. So because this is one thing which is required at every age, or unless you are filthy rich, that you need to don't worry about blowing away all your money. So remember, those things are very important. So because sometimes a cashless policy can save you a good fortune. You need not break your investments also premature. Something which you have invested for 10 years is due next month, but someone falls critically ill in your family. You have no money to spare if the budget is a big one. So you have no choice but to break up that deposit. You can't go in for the bank for apply for loan, because the expenses would be sudden and huge. So in those cases, the cashless health policies, especially, and that is one of the features of the policies. Not all policies are cashless, but yes, if you take it from a good company with a broad coverage of network hospitals, that will give you a cashless coverage. Because it is, yes, you may get a reimbursement later on, but what you break sometimes your long-term investments, you are bound to lose your compounding advantage. So always think of health insurance if you have not thought. As I mentioned, most of the companies, good companies, they provide courtesy a good network list of hospitals. They provide cashless facilities. So I've discussed in detail in that health insurance also. The list of network hospitals keep changing every year. So you have to keep monitoring whether the hospital near you is offering the policy or not. So because that can save your savings and investments from breaking down premature, even at times of ill health. So we discussed about group health insurance also. Usually the employees are covered under that. Some of the employees' families are covered under that also. But then those policies only exist till the time you're working with the company. So once you lose your job, or you shift your job, or you are relocated to another company, or you want to shift to another company, you will actually lose that insurance as well. Give you the system to transfer from group policy to your individual policy. That is possible in the first 45 days as well. So you can do that. And also, if you feel your sum assured is insufficient, you can top up or super top up. The top up and the super top up were discussed in depth, in detail in those 3 sessions. The number 3 thing before 30 is required is a sufficient emergency fund, because this is one thing which has happened with many of us. Just in the first lockdown that happened, national lockdown happened on 23rd, 24th March last year by our honorable PM. People were actually itching to get back to their clinics by 15th, 16th April, whatever the days of 3 weeks lockdown was. They said, kahan se main EMI dunga, kahan se main payment karunga, all those things. They were not actually very sure about certain things. But then that is the beauty of emergency fund. You can have that and you can be covered for some amount. Always advisable is that it should be at least 6 times of your monthly expenses or 3 months of your income. Considering if you take your expenses at 50% of your gross income, this is the major, say, gross ratio you can. You can always have a more, but a less depending upon your thing. But if I have to govern that in amount, I would say I used to say 2 to 5. Now I would say the average amount should be 3 to 8, 3 to 9 lakhs of emergency fund should be there. We discussed in the previous session, there are a few things you should not be looking at earning interest from. An emergency interest fell in that bracket. Don't look to earn interest. Yes, you can keep that in liquid funds, debt funds, or a high earning saving bank account. So that is the reason I said that is a automatic side effect, you can say a good side effect of the emergency fund also earning you something, at least if not 2.5 or 3% in your routine government savings bank account. Because people still have this notion, nahi sarkari bank safe hai, private bank chor hai, bhag jayenge. Nothing happens. All RBI regulated banks are safe only if you trust me or the government. So if you have trust on neither, then there is no point in saying any further. But the thing is, if the bank is a RBI regulated one, no bank will drown. You saw that with the Yes Bank last year, just before COVID. 5th of March, moratorium was announced for 30 days, 30 days, and 16th of March, the moratorium was lifted. Flat in 11 days, State Bank being the chief investor with 49%. The largest public sector bank came to the rescue. Yes, others like Federal, SDFC, Axis, ICICI also pitched in, and they were allowed to keep their assets for 3 years lock-in period. They couldn't exit from that recovery plan. So the government keeps mandate for such banks always. So if a private bank is giving you good returns, surely it is safe as well. Even the small financial banks are RBI regulated banks. Cooperative banks are not banks, they are societies. They are not regulated by banks. If you remember the PMC bank crisis that happened in November 2019, 4 months before COVID. Today only there was a news, RBI extends moratorium further. So close to 2 years or 1 year and 8 months, the moratorium is still there on the PMC bank in Punjab and Maharashtra. So this is the reason you need to look at those things. All cooperative banks are not almost all cooperative banks are not regulated by RBI. So as I mentioned, emergency fund can be in liquid fund or a high earning savings bank account. Usually the public sector banks don't offer this high earning advantage. So liquid funds can be redeemed in 1 to 2 business days and provide high returns. So you can keep say depositing a sum in your bank account every month to build an emergency fund slowly and steadily as well, if you're a starter, especially in your 20s. So then this is one common query that I always get. Sir, I'm saving. I am in my early 30s, less than 35, above 30. So I'm saving, as you say. Itna dalna hai, kam se kam itna save karna hai. I go that way. But I don't have any goals set up. How do I do that? Always set up your goals according to your various stages of your life. It is always crucial to start your journey by achieving those goals, by keeping those in mind. It can be multiple. As I dissect today's presentation further, you'll get to know a few things that we will be needing money and how you can actually use that money to say get rid of your liabilities and be secure and safe as well. So what are the goals which can be? You save for your retirement? Yes. You save for financial freedom? Yes. You build for your dream house. Some of us are not having own house. Some of us are not having a big house, maybe a joint family. We all can have multiple goals, and you can start earning for or start say building for that. Some of you might be wanting to have a own clinic as well. So there can be multiple goals. You can fit in as many as here as you want. But then remember, your segregation of your amount, what you spend, has to be in regards to that. Today morning, we discussed the KPIs, the key performance indicators in the webinar for the MPG. So various metrics and the key performance indicators. So how you know your clinic is growing? If you know it actually, and that has again a link to your costing and GPM, NPM also. If you're taking home a good amount, then only you can contribute towards your goals. That is where the chain or the link between these two is happening. So all these videos are always or will be there on YouTube shortly. So for example, today's session will be on YouTube on 5th of August. So because there are so many already in the queue, I don't jump the queue. So there is a reason for that. Not that, and you all know it, there is a video coming every day. So every alternate day, there is a new video. The standard definition comes one day, the HD comes the next day, and again beyond that there is another video. So maybe 2 days, every alternate day you get a video. So then try to join the missing dots. I cannot give you everything in platter. You're still getting so many things in platter. The rest of the things you have to do something. I can still give you 80-90%. The rest 10-20 is your job only. So remember, the sooner you start investing, we discussed in a great depth in part 2, the biggest variant that you lose with age is time, which cannot be fulfilled even with a higher amount. So even if you put in much higher, sometimes you cannot. Yes, you can still put in with the exorbitantly higher amount, but if you're putting a little bit higher than what you normally should have, we remember the Sudhir and the Randhir example from part 1, if you remember, guys. And there was a your and your brother's example of starting 10 years earlier, 10 years later, uh, in the part 2 as well. So you have to decide that. So what is the conclusion? So these are the 4 things: the health insurance, the term insurance, the emergency fund, and your goals clarity, the thought and the clarity process. These 4 things should be very clear to you before you turn 30. And in addition to this, being a banker's son, I would always say best to keep yourself debt free. That is the biggest gift that you can give to yourself. Otherwise, one of my dear friends in college again, Ravi Sher Singh Toor, he actually started a petrol pump. He started a school as well. He has a franchisee for a school in Punjab. So he said, my everything is on loan. And he told me last year when I went for a webinar, last year in August 2019, he said, my dad always says, tu kama raha aur bank kha raha hai. So that is you are actually not saving anything for yourself. The bank is eating out of your pie. So how to start? Let's further dissect now. What age are you? 20? 20s, I mean to say 20 to 29, 30s, 30 to 39, 40s, 40 to 49, 50s. आज सबको प्रसाद मिलेगा. Don't worry. If you keep on sticking till the end. So the sweet 20s, investing in 20s, what to do in those 20s. I've already told you a few things that should be there. A couple of things would be repetitive, yes, but you need to make sure that yes, certain things are repetitive for the reason that they get inside your head permanently, and you don't ever try to make a shortcut or skip out of that, come what may. So let's look at the sweet 20s. How do you invest? So your salary or your income from your clinic, usually I expect that usually people won't start their clinic immediately. So when you start earning, obviously you will get a salary only, working as a locum, working as an associate, working as an assistant dentist. So it is one of the, say, if you start saving from your salary, even from day one, that is one of the sure short ways to secure your financial future. And trust me, the biggest thing, time. Remember that variant, time, always. That should always be in your mind. And yes, I would say I was lucky with my dad being at my side, but I was a lot adamant also in my initial years of life. A lot flexible now with increasing age, with flexibility, with maturity. Yes, a little bit more flexible and mature, but yes, I was adamant. But by the time my MBA finance and my dad's words actually entered into my brain, I was close to 31. 2007 onwards, I actually started following him diligently. And of course, my MBA finance had started by then. It finished in 2009. So before that, whatever he used to say, डैड छोड़ो यार, टैक्स क्यों देना यार, आप क्यों मेरे पीछे पड़े रहते हो टैक्स देने के लिए, दे दो यार, ज्यादा तो 500 दे दो, 1000 दे दो टैक्स. I used to do these things in 2003. Yes, I used to do it. I admit it. But then this is the learning you acquire with age. People still don't realize that paying tax will make more of your income white. And in today's times, you can invest only in white. You may have huge money stored up in your sofa, commode, your false ceiling, your in your bunker inside your house, in your dungeon, wherever you can. You might have stored that. But remember, whatever amount that money could earn, even if it was a meager savings bank interest of 3% or 4%, it is actually staying in that bunker or staying in that commode is actually going down in value. So you are being beaten by the Einstein's theory of relativity. The money which could have earned is actually going down in value due to inflation factor. So this is the point you need to realize very, very clearly, that you are getting beaten on double counts. So don't think that if you have a lot of money stored as black money with you, you are actually safe. If you are not building up the corpus, you are actually still unsafe. You never know the pinkies can be stopped, the 2000 can be stopped any day. Obviously it's not a possibility now usually, but anything can happen. So it's all about spending less than your earnings and investing the difference. Always say save first, spend later, the quintessential Warren Buffett quote. So as I said, investment in the carry home gyan of the part 2 also, investment should be a habit. It should not be a work ki हाँ ये करना पड़ेगा, pressure से नहीं करना है, दिल से करना है, खुशी से करना है. Yes, people would have different options. People would have, detractors would always say, नहीं आज में जियो कल की कल देखेंगे, हमने क्या करना है, पूत कपूत तो क्यों धन संचय, पूत सपूत तो क्यों धन संचय. Mean if your progeny, if your children are good enough, they will earn themselves, and if they're bad, they will destroy whatever you have accumulated or earned as well. This is my wife's philosophy. But then what I mean to say, if I was a kaput or a saput, my dad didn't wait for me to turn 25 and check whether he's a kaput or a saput and I should invest. He did his duty diligently, and I, being a dad to my children, I have to do my duty diligently. How they deal with money in their life, it is up to them totally. So, but yes, financial habits can be inculcated early and can reward all of us with a stress-free financial life. And let us see the potential, what advantages, although you know about it, but yes, putting some things in the bracket. Yes, the 20s, some of you might be in your 20s who are watching this. So maybe in your late 20s. So let's see what exactly. So what is the financial situation in the 20s? Let's presume that maybe you're fresh out of your college with your first job or your paid internship. You are actually tasting independence for the first time. That can be actually sometimes overwhelming. कहते हैं ना, ज्यादा पैसा दिमाग खराब करता है. कई बारी अच्छी सैलरी मिल जाए, अच्छी जॉब लग जाए, तो यू ऑलवेज स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, ओहो क्या पैसा आ गया, मजा आ गया. देन obviously it will be more than the pocket money or the stipend we have been getting from parents or the college people. So suddenly lot of money in hand, what to do? Ash karo aur kya karna hai. So then there are also expenses for which dad petrol भरवाने के लिए पैसे दे दो, डैड उसको देने हैं, बाइक रिपेयर करवानी उसके पैसे दे दो, डैड बाइक लेनी है उसके पैसे दे दो. You grow up and you stop asking your parents for such expenses. You want to be independent, and trust me, the parents, even if you don't say it, the parents would love it surely. So my dad never said this thing to me, because as I turned, even though I was earning 2,000 rupees from my first job in the morning and in the evening, right when I started in 98, 99. So I still never demanded anything from him. So he never told me, but he used to tell mom that I feel happy कि मेरे से कुछ मांगता नहीं है. So that is the thing you come to know later on, of course. But then we have to juggle between our responsibilities to our job, our patients, our maybe if some of us start clinic, and the financial freedom that we have suddenly acquired. Yes, it can be going in the wrong direction as well. Sometimes there are a lot of impulses, lot of say adrenaline rushes happening, lot of urge to spend a bomb on the weekend parties. That will happen, that will continue to happen, but that is where the control is required, because again, money management is an acquired skill, and I'm the one giving to you. In a way, I'm one of the few people who are giving to you. Yes, you can acquire it from multiple peoples. The primarily the bigger source is for money management is our parents also. There is one section on that, what to trust, what to believe, what to rely from parents and what not. So that is a section for the part 4. I've reserved that section. So do stay tuned. And I'm repeating it once more. Those who are attending part 3, I will not put in group for part 4. You have to ask me, and the session is on Monday at 8 p.m. in 3 days time. So you ask me on Monday, please give me the link for part 4. Otherwise, wait for a month on YouTube. So always start to save even in your 20s, even if it is a small amount, because you have the biggest factor in your hand, the time. Even if you are in 20s, you have close to 30 plus years. If you plan to retire at 60, that is the amount of time you have. And as they say, retirement would be ridiculously distant at that point of time. And trust me, ask someone who is 45 and listening to my lecture now. People still tell me, I won't name, they say, आप मुझे 10 साल पहले क्यों नहीं मिले, आप मुझे 15 साल पहले क्यों नहीं मिले. मैं 15 साल पहले आपको ये पढ़ा भी नहीं सकता था, because I was not myself adapted to these things. So yes, this means that you will have more time to accrue money towards your golden years of life, the retirement years, assuming that you retire at 60. So what are the investment avenues for young adults, 20s? The top 7 would remain the same in any case. Yes, from those 7, the FDs, the RDs, and the EPF. Obviously, EPF is for the salaried. The RDs and FDs have gone out of the window now. So the remaining 4 avenues, you know, the mutual funds, the stocks, the PPF and the NPS. So these will continue to be the 4 harbingers of investment. So where you park your money is very important, like you're investing. So let me give you some schemes with diverse risk profiles. Trust me, this is the age, this is the situation, this is the say condition which can be maximum risk taking, because you are in your 20s, you don't have any liabilities unless you get married just about after college, and even have a kid even very soon, and even have a clinic also very soon. So all the 3 liabilities are on you immediately after the college only. So people who are in love marriage or immediately after love, you need to be very cautious about this aspect. So anyways, putting that fun point aside, but yes, this is the thing where you can actually take more of risks. I discussed top 7 in the previous session, so that is the reason I told you need to have watched. I am giving the reference of part 1 and part 2 at various junctures because of this reason only, that you need to be aware of what I discussed in over there. So one of another things which I never discussed in top 7 was the post office savings scheme. Again, a government initiative. It is one of the trusted places to park your money. How you can? We have various options like a RD, 5-year RD, POMIS. POMIS is post office monthly income scheme. The NSE. Of course, now these are much obsolete, but people who are willing to have a good monthly income, they can opt for a POMIS also, although the returns are fully taxable as per your slab. But yes, you can still get over there. But what I would advise is that we always say emergency fund rakho, keep 2 lakhs in your savings account, open that in a joint manner with any of your family member, your brother, your wife, your mother, your father, whatever. If you are the first holder and they are the second holder, you can keep 2 lakhs, which at 4% would give you 8,000 rupees of interest in the year. The post office interest is incurred only once. Unlike the banks, which give, some banks give even monthly interest in savings, like AU Small Finance Bank, like OBC, now it is turned PNB, so it will be giving quarterly. The OBC used to give a monthly interest before the merger. So there are many banks which give. Otherwise, most of the banks are giving a quarterly interest. So the post office gives an annual interest on 31st March only. So if you get 8,000 of interest from your post office account, 7,000 of that is tax free. So even if you are on the 30% slab, which I believe 20% guys won't be, so you maximum would be in the 20% tax slab. So maximum interest you have to pay from that 8,000 rupees of interest, or 2 lakhs of money kept over there is 200 rupees, just 20% plus surcharge, maybe 4%. So maximum 205 rupees or 208 rupees, sorry. So maximum is that tax liability. So again, what you are keeping in your bank as an emergency fund can be aside. This is money which is actually earning you tax-free income. There is no section for post office, and this doesn't come in the ATTTA section as well, where in the banks ATTTA there is a slab for 10,000 rupees. The post office joint account comes with a 7,000 exemption. There is no section in IT, but it is a I think section number 10 something, a subsection along with as well. I don't remember exactly, but that is the section which accords you that. So that money can be earning a quite tax-free interest, and liability is not there. So this is the advantage that I always advise people to go in for, because you can all earn lots of things via taxable things. Bitcoin में डाल दो, grow करेगा, 40 से 30 आ गया, अब और नीचे जा रहा है. Remember, आप कितना डालोगे? 5 लाख डालोगे. 5 लाख का 10 लाख टर्न होने के लिए बिटकॉइन जो आज की डेट में 30 है, उसको 60 जाना पड़ेगा. Is that easy? It's not. It's like a gamble. Do you have a knowledge of doing going into the cryptocurrency? Some से चलो इथेरियम में डाल दो, 2500 के आसपास है वैल्यू, कुछ ना कुछ तो रिटर्न देगा. It is your choice. But if tax free return, I always look at this. अगर मेरे को रिटर्न कम मिल रही है लेकिन टैक्स फ्री है, I look at that. अगर ज्यादा लेके आपने टैक्स कटवा के आपको उतनी मिली, तो फिर कौन फायदा मेरा, मैं क्या आप? उतनी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन आपकी बढ़ गई, मेरी टैक्स फ्री में डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कम हो गई. सो think wise. There are so many avenues available. And if you are opening a single account, you get a 3,500 exemption, not 7,000. But remember, your father can open his own post office account, keeping you as the second holder. He also can avail a 7,000 exemption. Each family member can have a joint account with you. Your mother can have with you, your brother can have with you, your sister can have with you as the second holder. You can have multiple accounts. There is no liability on the income tax department side, because as per the banking rules, as per the post office rules, the money belongs to the first holder, irrespective of whatever the bank mandate is, irrespective of whatever the mode of operation is. Don't go into that part ki hamara to teenon ka paisa hai. Yes, that is fine. But when it comes to tax liability for individuals, the money belongs to the first holder. Whosoever is the first holder, he has to enter the bank account in his ITR, and not who is the second or the third. You don't need to. Even if you're a second account holder and even 20 accounts, you don't need to mention those accounts in your ITR. Only the ones where you're the primary holder, you need to mention over there. So then you can even open a PPF account through post office, although I would strongly say avoid it, because ab to private bank mein bhi khulta hai. So banks are the best place to open a PPF. But if you are a well-developed city and your post office, although they are computerized, have multiple staff, then go in for the PPF over there, or maybe the transaction part. इसको मैं इसलिए बोलता हूँ, ये एक बार ही डाल दिया, ये निकालना तो बहुत है ना इमरजेंसी के टाइम पे ये. Or you can even, the post office, many are coming with the ATM also. If not, they give you a checkbook. Whenever you need the money, just transfer it to your normal bank account and withdraw it from there. So that is the best way you can do it as well. If you are not fond of standing in the queues outside the post office, the post offices near me are very pathetic. In spite of my city being the 17th largest city in India, size wise and 22nd population wise, Ludhiana is not a small city, but my post office experience has been pathetic, even with the good post offices around me. But saving bank rakha hua hai, so if we are earning something tax free, I don't mind that. My father actually gave me this philosophy of earning maximum tax free. Yes, in those days, even the higher things would come at a cost of a tax free advantage. Now everything has come down in the interest parameters. So yes, you have to think different. You have to think of diversification in gold, mutual funds as well. So for the initial phase of our life, we never even thought of mutual funds, thinking them to be risky. Even then, the SEBI guidelines were not very clear about that. It is only from 2012 and 13 onwards that SEBI actually acquired full control, and more so in the past 1.5 years or so, that SEBI rules are pretty much tough on the mutual fund operators as well. So the second option for you is a PPF. We discussed that in the previous session. Even a video on the two vital wheels of investment, PPF and NPS, also came in yesterday and day before yesterday on YouTube. You can watch it for that. So anything from 500 to 1.5, you can actually add if you are a 20-something guy. So once you complete your 15 years, can be extended in a batch of 5 plus 5 plus 5 unlimited. So this is one of the rare investments which is a triple E benefit. Exempt, exempt, exempt. The interest earned, the capital, and the proceeds at the maturity all are actually tax-free. So third option for you, liquid funds. If you want to keep some money in your, again, the emergency fund, in your, it is like say investment which is kind of a usually a risk-free one. These are a kind of debt funds only, where the investment is done in bonds, government G-Secs. The government securities are also known as G-Secs, or the treasury bills by the government of India. So mostly by the government, of whatever they earn, they give you 1% less, close to 1% less, and because that is their expense or the other operating expenses. So they at least will give you a kind of a capital protection. Maximum up to 3 months, 91 days, you can invest in over there. And these are highly liquid. You can get your returns T plus 1 day. You can get your transactions back. Then another aspect, RDs can be a good option if you want to keep that in emergency. But yes, with the dwindling interest and the RD becoming fully taxable, this is one investment I would say to avoid. So instead of that, I would say add NPS in your portfolio, even if you are 20 something, because you can start your NPS right after 18 years of age once you turn major. So the fifth is the SIP. Obviously, 80 minus age or 100 minus age is the best time. If you are in 20, you can put in the maximum portion in the equity, which will actually grow. People actually are very frightened to enter into the market for this parameter. they feel यार पैसा तो डबल होता नहीं है. अरे रूल ऑफ 72 आपको बताया था मैंने इन सेशन 1. अदरवाइज ऑल्सो यू माइट बी अवेयर ऑफ रूल ऑफ 72. थिंक दैट वेज. मेरे को 5 years 6 years में आई नीड 10 lakh rupees. So you need to put in 5 lakhs, or you need to put in those funds which have traditionally given you a return of 12 to 15%. So your money should grow double in 5 to 6 years, roughly. So think accordingly. Whatever liabilities you have, you can pay it off via that. Obviously, you have to plan in such a manner that some portion goes towards your retirement, which is left untouched. As your income grows, you can increase your portion towards that. But yes, some portion should go towards your milestones also, which you have or which you would want to break at maybe 5 years, 6 years time, whenever maybe your child comes in your family, maybe your second child comes, maybe your child goes to school, or whatever, maybe your sister's marriage, maybe your brother's marriage. Everyone has a different family scenario. So think of your liabilities and settle your goals accordingly. ये नहीं होता कि सारा पैसा म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दो और सारा हम 60 पे निकालेंगे. No, there is a way to do that. You saw the Randhir and the Sudhir example in the first part. A 2,000 rupee SIP, what enormous amount it could develop. I would say if you are investing at least 5 lakhs in the starting phase, which is 40,000 per month, you can actually, if you do 5 lakhs for 10 to 12 to maximum 15 years, and then stay invested for maybe 20, 25 years, believe me, you will grow a huge corpus out of that. You even will not even imagine. That is the power of compounding. So, but that doesn't mean that the all money should stay invested और लोगों से मांगते रहो या लोन लेते रहो. This is not to be done. So as we grow, move further in the presentation, you will know what exactly to look out for in various situations. So this is the time to actually invest more in equity, since you have less of responsibilities, less of liabilities on your hand. So you can keep a small amount as per your comfort and convenience, which can be used to say redeem, or for in case of your short-term goals which are there, or medium-term goals. Not every goal would be a long-term goal like a retirement. So think wise. सारा पैसा नहीं ब्लॉक करना है, कुछ पैसे को उस तरह भी ग्रो करवाना है. कंपाउंडिंग मिलेगी, उसमें कम मिलेगी, उसमें ज्यादा मिलेगी. So remember even the Sudhir and Dheer example, I would say. So the SIPs can be weekly, monthly, fortnightly, quarterly, and some give you a daily SIP example as well. Some people put in daily 500 as well in the SIP. So it is a personal choice. You can put, what I would say suggest is the monthly option is one of the best options. So stick to that. Whatever amount you want to put in, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maximum 4 to 5 funds, not go beyond that. But that is the thing you can look at in terms of return. And trust me, invest in the direct option, never interest in the regular option. And you can do all these things online via the click of the mouse yourself only with little bit of knowledge. So why I'm saying that, I'll be giving you a full detailed how to do these things, say TSD tell show do. I'll be giving you on 30th June. If you stay till the end, I'll let you know how and why. So the debt funds, again, a low risk financial instrument, almost like liquid instruments, but yes, a different exposure, can be greater than 91 days. So you can get a regular flow of income, ideal for people who are looking for steady earnings, similar to a POMIS kind of a thing, who would say we need some money at short intervals or a regular payout. So it can be. But then if the economy faces fluctuations, the NAV of the debt fund also decreases. It is close to FDs only. Even these days, they are giving close to 5 to 7% returns as well, still more than FDs. So then 20s, life insurance, I discussed that. This is one of the 4 parameters that is very essential. So always have that, because you will get higher coverage at a lower premium. As you grow older, the cost of insurance increases too. And then the other 2 mandatory ones, health insurance and mandatory vehicle insurance, are not something that you can skip. We all know even one medical emergency can wipe up all your savings. People in initial COVID had hospital bills of 15 to 16 lakhs as well. So what exactly you can do is that you can get an insurance at a lesser price. Even if it is a life insurance, for health insurance, there are certain things for which there is a waiting period. So that will begin maybe after 48 months, 72 months, depending upon the illness. So you have to be cautious. All these things are covered in the health insurance part. So you can watch those videos for in-depth of that. So 20s is the age where the traps are also there. The Ponzi scheme traps, The people who actually fall in the Ponzi scheme kind of a trap means getting rich quick scheme. If you remember the ad by Umesh Yadav, KL Rahul, Shahbaz Nadeem and Ishan Kishan, said 6 महीने में पैसा डबल. कहते ये क्या स्कीम है? कहते तूने कभी 5 ओवर में डबल सेंचुरी मारी है? Which is not possible. So 20s and the 50s or the 60s are the trap, because 50s में लगता है ये टाइम तो बचा नहीं है, डॉक्टर भवदीप ओझा ने थोड़ा लेट मिले हमें, तो अब क्या करें? तो गेट रिच क्विक स्कीम में पैसा डालो. 20s में होता है रिस्क तो लेना ही है, रिस्क उसमें लो जिसमें डबल हो जाए. देखो घर वालों को इंप्रेस करेंगे, आप इतने साल में आपने इतना कमाया, देखो मैंने एक शॉट में कर दिया. मेच्योरिटी नहीं होती ना, तो पैसा डाल देते हैं घर वालों की सलाह के बिना. जब डूब जाता है देन वो वी कट अ सॉरी फिगर इन फ्रंट ऑफ देम. वो आपसे पूछा नहीं, सोचा आपको सरप्राइज दूंगा. सरप्राइज तो फिर भी दिया, पैसे डूब गए. तो इट वाज नॉट अ गुड सरप्राइज, मे बी अ बैड सरप्राइज. So that is the thing you need to remember. So yes, there are certain mistakes. I've discussed time and again many things, the financial mistakes that we make very commonly, but these mistakes can be expensive sometimes, and sometimes it is very difficult to recover from them also. So what are the mistakes that we have to avoid in the 20s, or I call them as the trap of the 20s, 20 to 29 years of age, what you do? So don't use that as a platform. The number one mistake is that people don't know how to budget it out. तो सैलरी मिली, उड़ाओ, ऐश करो, खाओ पियो, पॉकेट मनी से ज्यादा, लेकिन सडनली देयर इज गुड मनी फ्लोइंग इन. Yes, I'm not talking of the struggles of a fresher dentist here. I would believe that you have learned everything in your college and you've gotten a good job as a locum or associate, and you're earning pretty well. So that is the point that I feel that you are earning a lot out of your current job. So I'm presuming that. So I give the budgeting formula, the standard universal rule, 50-30-20 rule, or Bhavdeep's formula that I've given many times, 45-15-40. That should make sense. What exactly it is? For example, your salary is, let's suppose, 40,000. I'll be talking in the 20s regard only. If you're maybe you may be earning more than that, you may be earning less than that, but that is the thing. I would say your income is this. Or even if you're a young practitioner starting out of your clinic, let's suppose your salary is this. So then 20,000 for your rent, groceries, utilities, commute, clothing. And why I segregated these things is that suppose you're living with your parents, so many of these expenses would be taken care of by your parents only. So I have kept 50% as the gross percentage for your needs and wants here. Otherwise, we give 50 to needs, 30 to wants, and 20 to your RIP, alternate RIP, the retirement investment planning. Again, a term coined by me. So 30%, 12 means is 12,000 out of this amount goes to your savings and investments. For 4,000, your long-term schemes like debt funds or equity-linked savings scheme, 4,000 for a short-term RD or a liquid fund for contingency, or maybe then the remaining towards your goals like buying a car, buying a house, or going for a trip. Yes, the wants can be merged slightly over here as well with the remaining money. But then the biggest disadvantage is the loans, the debts that we acquire in the young age. Again, a money trap. So we have to spend that 20% on repayments or EMIs if you have taken any. So the best way is to either increase your savings or splurge on yourself. So if you use the same formula, my formula, 45, 15, 40, 18 for rent or your needs and wants, and remaining segregating it similar way to that. And the debt should not be more than 15% in such cases. Overall, if we talk, the gross loan, I would say the liability should never cross 35 to 40% of your gross income, the loans, whatever you have. That is the upper limit I usually give. 2 videos came in today. I've discussed this part. My success talks with Dr. Satish of Navi Mumbai. Financial aspects and practice management aspects were discussed in depth. 30 minute video. I put in the video in both the groups. So do watch that. You will gain a lot. And that is a must watch for many of you, even if you are not a newcomer. So obviously for the newcomers, it is there. So these can be practical, the 50, 30, 20 or the 45, 15, 40 if you think yourself. Then depriving yourself, I say save first, spend later, the Warren Buffett quote. But does not mean you live like a Scrooge, live like a Makhichus, live like a Kanjus. You still have to say treat once in a while yourself. Because what will happen is if you don't do that, people around you would be splurging and you will be actually frustrated. इस साले वो पैसे कमा के ऐश कर रहे हैं, मैं साला पैसे कमा के डॉक्टर भवदीप में पता नहीं कौन सी लाइन में लगा दिया मेरे को, मैं तो फंस गया इनकी बातों में आके. So that is the thing you need to remember. Yes, you need to do that once in a while. That is the reason I said some portion should still be diverted to your wants, but there is a percentage. You have to budget it out. You shouldn't go beyond your budget. It does not mean that you don't splurge. Cut out from your needs, spend on your wants. If you're dependent on your parents, you can afford a bigger amount than that. So introspect that you should not go beyond your means in such directions. So it can be maybe a dress, bicycle, camera, digital camera. So कुछ ऐसा लो जिससे आपको regret ना आए. So because otherwise you will feel frustrated, unhappy when your peers are actually enjoying lot many things, having a great lifestyle. Said आज मैं सड़ रहा हूँ, मैं कल को पैसा मिल भी जाएगा तो what benefit do I get out of it? So there is no point in that. So don't have a screws-like attitude. Splurge somewhat occasionally, spend on yourself, pamper yourself. Don't live the life of a pauper, I would say. So yes, live decent, but live decent as per your budget. The budgeting is the key. So stacking up your debts again. This generation, 20s generation, is known as the credit card generation. They like to flash and flaunt the credit cards, and which is a pitfall actually, which leads to a lot of disadvantages. So we all get a message, call, SMS. At least all of us get at least once or one of these, whether you want a personal loan or a new credit card. So we all get it. So हाँ कहें ना कहें, we all know what to answer. People have almost forgotten कि जो आप स्वाइप कर रहे हैं ना, वो एक तरह से that is the borrowed money, that is the bank's money, which would have to be paid back if you forget to pay on time at 36 to 48%. The average range 3 to 4% per month. So plus the penal charges, plus a destruction of your CIBIL score. So that money still has to be paid back. So most credit card companies give a zero interest window period for 50 days or so. So where nothing is charged. But that 50 days means 30 days of your credit cycle also, and 20 days other than those credit cycle. For example, if your credit cycle is from 2 to 1 to 2nd of June to 1st of July, for example, that is your monthly cycle. So you can make your payment up to, for the spend from 2nd June to 1st July, maximum up to 22nd of July. So that is the 50-day credit period window. But once you pass that, they'll give you an option. कोई बात नहीं, minimum amount दे दो. They'll also earn from it. Banks basically earn from the interest. Banks earn from the loans. So credit card is a kind of loan also, loan only. So always clear your total amount. I have a full credit card series, huge articles, 5 series of 5 articles of 5,000 words each written on credit cards. It is available on my website, drbhavdeep.com. I'll be giving you the link. If you want to read more on that, you can read what a vicious debt trap the credit can offer. Then not increasing your income. This is the time you actually can't be a laid back. You have a lot of energy, a lot of physical and mental stamina to work with, drive and passion. You can actually push yourself. See, I am 44, about to turn 45. I'm still working really hard. I had a session in the morning, a jam-packed OPD in the day, afternoon appointment in my local corporation office, and again, evening OPD followed by a session tonight. So I'm still working day in, day out, hard work. I know I have the time and energy in hand. But if you have that and you're not utilizing that, you are actually not unlocking your full and true potential. So always utilize that and don't let it go waste. Aside from your 9 to 5 job or your routine lifestyle, whatever your clinic timings are, you can look for other income sources. It can be a consultant, can be a freelancer, or maybe invest in schemes which can give you a monthly income. Maybe take tuition for kids. It is a journal thing, not exactly applying to all dentists, but can be a different pay source options for that. There are plenty of opportunities out there. You just have to look for it. How can you earn? And obviously legitimate only, not illegal, I would advise. Then one of the pitfalls of the money traps is being a yes person. So sometimes some people are actually always paying up their bill. Weekly get together हुआ, ये देगा bill, भाई bill देगा. So always raise your arm and being a yes person. So then there are times when people borrow from you कि यार ये तो इसके पास पैसे होते हैं, ये दे देगा, and they forget to return on time, and you don't like to remind them also. So there are sometimes people who are in our close vicinity. So always be very aware of that. Beware of that. Generosity is an admirable trait, but does not mean that you actually kill your money with that money. Remember, that money could have earned you something. If you have invested, could have earned you something. which is not even, the principal is also lost. So why complain to the schemes where you lose your money? You're not getting it from your friends also, or people also, when you have helped them in their times of distress or need. So draw the line so that you are not taken an advantage of wherever you feel that people are actually feeding on you like a leech. So then that is the need that you actually grow in your social circle. A person is known by the company he keeps. So revalidate your social circle, and don't get financially lost in the early stages of your career. Always learn how to handle money, and the first guru and guide for you in this regard is your father, mostly, or maybe your both parents, especially if your mother is working in a financial sector. So always take the shiksha from your first gurus, your parents. They will be the ones. The mother can give you a lot about budgeting. The father can give you otherwise financial advice from their gray hair, from their experience, from their maturity. So always do that, and then later on you can follow my YouTube channel. There are a lot of things to learn from there. So always start small. Don't always think big of starting in savings. मैं पहले बड़ा investment करूँ. No, don't do that. Don't invest into those schemes on hearsay only, where you feel that नहीं उसने लगाया Bitcoin में, मैं भी Bitcoin में डाल दूँ. Don't do on hearsay. Think. People don't use the two top floors available in the world: the top floor of their body and the top floor of this earth, him, the Almighty. People don't have trust in these two top floors. And unless you trust these two top floors, back yourself, trust him, then sky is the limit for you, what you can achieve in your life. So we have discussed a lot about 20s now. Let's go to 30s now. How to rock your 30s. I've given many investment things for you. My previous investments in general have been for the investment of a 30 to 40-year-old only, where I believe that people are settled. I used to give an example कि कम से कम 5 लाख invest करो. I can't expect a 20 something to invest 5 lakh every year, but I can surely expect a 30 to 40 to invest minimum 5 lakhs. Of course, for 40 and 50 onwards, I'm giving you separately. So I'm not going to go into those schemes because those 7 parameters will still remain the same. But again, I'll give you a few different things which you can think of those aspects, which is pertaining to 30s. Because 30s वालों के लिए सबसे एक बड़ा destination होता है, especially those who are not having it, or those who are having a small one, the home, the lovely 30s. This is the time to actually think of your home. So if you have a home, a good one already, maybe you can think of your own clinic, or maybe a bigger clinic. So the avenues can be similar. So by the time people actually get ready to settle down and start a family, you have to start working towards life goals. Now you are have grown older. Now you are in your 30s. So think that way. Shun the 20 attitude, come to the 30s now. So think of those phases where you now think of savings and investments both together. So house is like a dream which everyone has. It can be a fairy tale ending or a beginning sometimes, but yes, it is like the one you build with your own money is one thing which is actually a great thing to have, great feeling to have, I would say. So your tiny personal space in this big world. So what are a few investment plans you can adopt as a 30 plus? But again, the big question would be, why save or plan for a future home in your 30s? Why not in 40s, and why not in 20s? I'll give you a few reasons for that. So ideally, you can say you can start saving from your first job itself, even in your 20s. But then 20s में मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ investment भी करो, saving भी करो, equity में भी डालो. Sometimes that can be like asking too much from a youngster. Knowing so much and applying that education, it is sometimes too much. You also learn and grow in life. So that is the point. I'll give you 15 rules at the end today. So that is like asking more. So once you come into your 30s, your responsibilities are there. You have a kid in your family, you have a clinic, you have a wife. So your world centers around these three primarily. And of course, your parents as well. So if you are living in a joint family, or if you're living with your nuclear family with your parents. So this is the cycle that you actually will be focusing at. And people actually in 20s are also more of impulsive rather than being with an intuitive mind. So with age, you say you grow wise also, you grow mature also, and you start getting guidance also. You start having idols in your real life. You have role models also. And but then there is no dearth of real estate ads and promotions. So if you're saving diligently towards the down payment, because for the house you can't imagine कि मैं आपको कहूंगा कि आप 30 plus में 2 crore इकट्ठा कर लो if your house is worth 2 crores. But yes, you can think of those things where you can at least save for your down payment, considering whatever the value is. But this, if you have saved towards your down payment, yes, this is one of the cheapest loans. And housing loan, I don't consider as a disadvantage also most of the time, if this is actually more of a necessity. So if 30s is a good time to start, if you have a large, again, like 20s, you have still a large horizon. If you're going up to 60, you have close to less than 30 years, you still can think of that, because home would always be a big investment, and even the down payment can be in big lakhs, and then the long-term EMI. The good thing is that housing loans can go up to 20, 25, even 30 years as well. So that would leave you with a very, very less EMI. Yes, you will pay back a huge interest as well, but home loans are available at a 6.6, 6.7 as well, the floating ones in these days. So 30s is also the time when you're actually, the income starts shooting up, your career also starts looking up, and your salary will also reach a higher point. So you have the qualification, you have the experience, and you have started earning big also. Maybe your promotions, maybe your good OPDs, maybe you have taken care of the key performance indicators, and you are actually earning and relocating your income properly. You are taking an indicator, or say measuring it, that yes, I'm carrying home a good amount courtesy of GPM, NPM, and your practice profits that some of I discussed in the morning as well today. So then the 30s people are very less addicted to social media. It is more of a teenager and a 20 something, or maybe a senior citizen thing, that people are addicted to social media. The oldies don't have a time to pass. The youngsters want to be in the trend, be in the vogue always. So there are certain things that I've learned from my 14-year-old daughter. Even I don't know. So, but yes, kids are fast learners. 30s, 40s people, I encounter in the group also sometimes. सर आपने मैसेज डाला, मैंने तो महीने बाद पढ़ा था. So they are not addicted to WhatsApp also. Say one of my colleagues says, मेरे तो WhatsApp total silent पे है. मैं कि फायदा क्या हुआ communication का? It is a communication. नहीं, जिसको जरूरत है मेरे को फोन कर ले. Not everybody would like to disturb you in the middle of the clinic. They would always want to message you first. If you're not using this as a communication medium, you're actually underutilizing that talent, or underutilizing that source of information. So always prioritize your major life goals, and house is one of the major goals for some. So what is the investment plan for a 30 plus to buy a home? I'm not going into the other investment plans, but yes, I'll divulge a little bit on the home part. Again, the loan, housing loan, home loan has been discussed in great depth in the 3 sessions of loan sections, which is already there on YouTube. You can get a detail of doctor's loan, personal loan, MSME loan, gold loan, home loan, education loan, and whatnot, vehicle loan. There are a lot of loans that were discussed in that in great depth. So catch hold of those sessions if you already haven't done that. So people would always say, I don't have enough now. And youngsters especially say that, especially when the salary is a meager one. So then whether you want to park in a mutual fund, always go on a frugal mode, go on a, say, conservative mode, and stick to it. A specific portion should be going. Your lifestyle should go in a frugal mode, and you should be diligently saving for your life goal, a home in your life, because every dream would come at a price. So curtailing your expenses, the budgeting is the first thing. So remember, if you are not budgeting yourself properly, you will never know a way to invest and save. So budgeting would come first. And then before that, if you're not earning properly, you will not know how to budget. कि बचता ही 20,000 है, उसमें से क्या budget करूं मैं? So again, the practice management comes in. So all these things are related to all these aspects. I'm giving you everything in a different mode. You just have to join the dots together now. So then fortify your investment portfolio. Can have debt scheme, can have equity as well at varying maturity periods for your medium term and short term goals. Not everything, as I said earlier also, not everything would go into your retirement investment planning. There would be a consolidated investment that would be there that you would not touch for 30 years or so, but all money should not be blocked for 30 years. Remember that. So always reinvest short-term plans as they mature. One goals are there, satisfied, you can reinvest those, or continue to make enough for the down payment. Once you have good enough for the down payment, again, use the rule of 72. How much I need? I need, say, 20 lakhs. How much are you going to invest? 10 lakhs. How much time you have? Maybe 5 years. I can give that. So invest in a scheme that will give you 12%, or maybe 14%. So that is the way you actually calculate how to actually grow in that regard. So it can cover the down payment also. In the meantime, don't forget to ensure that you and your family should have coverage also. So when you go in for a housing loan kind of a thing, people or the banks would automatically insist that you buy a reducing term insurance plan that has already been explained in the loan section, so that God forbid you take a heavy loan of 1 crore, 1.5 crore, and something happens to you. The same thing is that your family would have to pay that loan as well. So the term insurance would take care of that. As your loan EMIs decrease, your term insurance would also go on reducing in that manner, and the premium will also come down that you have to pay each year. And sometimes the loan would automatically include your installment for the loan part also. Again, that part has been discussed in detail in the loan section, so I'm not going to cover that. So you need to watch that video to gain a knowledge of that. Yes, we have already discussed a great deal about the power of compounding. So only two schemes are there which will give you the power of compounding. Add an NPS to this also, the SIP and the PPF. Add NPS to that also. These three will give you the power of compounding, and they are actually working magic on the investors like most of us. So if you earn interest on the principal, that interest also starts earning interest. That is the bottom line of compounding. So which I explained to you in the previous two sessions. So more compounding periods you have, the more you earn. Dr. Raghu forwarded me one slide which is actually a very say the first initial periods of compounding are very slow and boring. You feel yaar mera paisa grow to kar nahi raha hai. Maybe in the middle stage it starts growing. Then the latter half, the relay race, the last leg of the relay is ultra fast. You don't even imagine how fast the compounding takes over when it comes into full blown mode. So if you have a 30-year period for that, the first 10 would be boring. The next 10 would be like, okay, theek hai, reasonable hai, par 20 saal bhi to hone wale hain. The last 10 would be like a sprint, like a 50-meter dash. I won't say even a 100-meter dash, a 50-meter dash done in 4 seconds flat, like that advantage. For example, if a 100-meter is done in 9 point something seconds. So this is the kind of advantage that compounding gives you. But then the major thing is consistency. You don't stop the SIPs even if the market is crashing. Rather, you buy more. You get more units when the market is crashing. People actually commit this mistake and start selling. Jo milta wo recover kar lo. If you're a long-term investor, why do you feel that the market grows in a linear curve only? It goes up and up only. It is like a wave. Crest and troughs will come. But long-term investors should not be affected by that. If you have invested for 20 years, 30 years, बीच में एक दिन crash हुआ तो बहुत अच्छी बात है ना. You get more units. So you have a huge corpus building out of that only. Next month the market recovers. In 6 months time, you'll buy less units. So remember that. Use the top floor. Both the top floors are to be used by you. So as you say, if somebody wins the Best Smile Award, does he stop caring of their teeth? They would want to win it the next year as well. So similarly, investment is a habit. As I mentioned the carry home gyan last time, it is a habit for the rest of your life. And consistency is only the way that can make it do so. But yes, if you feel like skipping, you can maybe a month or so, maybe you can stop a SIP and then you can resume again as well. So how to do that, all those aspects, I'll be telling you in the end of the presentation today. So signing up for a SIP can inculcate financial discipline as well. But yes, you cannot stop once you feel that you have saved enough. You have to let the money grow even after stopping your SIP. So why the 30s are the best years to buy your first house? I mentioned a few advantages. Let me give you a few more. It is easier to get loans because now your ITR value is reasonably good. I presume you're filing the honest ITR, and maybe your say competition of income shows you good income. And banks are always enthusiastic to give loans to young professionals. They would always say that age, qualification, credit history would all be on your side. So before sanctioning loans, and younger you are, the better your chances of availing a loan. So you get a longer repayment period. Assuming the retirement age is 60, someone would have for a housing loan, they will give a 20-25 year as well. But if you can say, you can foreclose the loan also. If you double up, if you start earning more, you can speed up your EMI also in loans, We have discussed that in the loan section, how that can even doubling up you for a couple of years can actually bring your 15-year installment to exactly to 9 year as well. So that is again the power of compounding at work in loans as well. So do watch those videos for detailed discussion over there. So yes, if you are having a longer tenure, you will pay back more interest, but yes, you'll have the convenience of paying a small amount each month. And obviously, home loan comes with a big advantage of say tax deduction as well. ATC gives you 1.5 lakh on the principal, and section 24 gives you 2 lakh on the interest part of the EMI separately per year. So this is the exemption that you can claim actually for a housing loan. Except housing and education loan, no other loan will give you a tax rebate. The education loan gives you for 8 years, and the amount can be, upper limit can be anything. There is no upper limit ki itna exemption hai, पूरा आपको मिलेगा, लेकिन up to 8 years only on the interest part, not on the principal part, only on the interest part that can be availed for 8 years as well. So even if your kid finishes the education, starts earning, you can avail the loan with him. Usually that is for the kids higher education. So I would presume your kid is 18 years of age, and he can be made a first borrower, and you can be a co-borrower along with that, or a guarantor as we say sometimes. So you can do that. Ab loan lena to you have to improve your credit score also. Some people will not take a loan, some people will not take a credit card. They want to be ultra safe. But remember, अगर लोन नहीं लोगे और पे बैक नहीं करोगे तो आपका क्रेडिट स्कोर भी नहीं बनेगा. अगर आप ग्राउंड में खेलने नहीं जाओगे ना, तो आपका 0 स्कोर, 0 बॉल फेस्ड वही रहेगा. तो क्रेडिट स्कोर needs to be there. Take a small loan, take a credit card, pay back 1 or 2 installments on time, and your score is created. And how to do that? There are third-party things like somebody asked me a question today, how to do that. There are sites like Paisabazaar, which will give you a free credit report every month. Otherwise, it is chargeable. If you go through the banking website, they'll charge you 550 plus GST for getting your CIBIL score. You can measure directly also. You can go to the CIBIL site also, check out the same, and you can check once in 6 months for free. So that thing keeps on changing. Sometimes it is once in a year free. Presently, it is, I guess, once in 6 months. It is free on the CIBIL site. You have to log in with your details. You can, if you don't have a login, you can make a login. Alternatively, you can go through your net banking, apply for a CIBIL score. They'll charge you 550 plus GST. No bank will do it for free. The one who does it for free is the Paisabazaar. But their disadvantage is they'll continue to spam you. If you have a low score, they'll keep you. हम आपको बताएंगे कि आप कैसे अपना credit score improve करें. They'll keep spamming your inbox. They'll keep making you call. Yes, you have the option to block the SMS. You have the option to block their numbers. That is there. But yes, that is a free option. They'll update you with the score every month free of cost. So that is one alternative that you can use. But yes, the option of spamming would still be there, because a good credit score is necessary if, God forbid, you have to take a loan. I would always say, being a banker's son, my possibilities are be at 0%, take 0% loan or 0 loan. Second is take from your parents at 0% interest. Or if you don't want to avail the 2 options, you have to take the loan and a bigger one. You don't want to trouble your parents. You can go in for the third option. Of course, you can go. And then for that, the CIBIL score is needed, and always try to pay it back as quickly as you can, except the home loan. So home loan usually the cheapest loan. So I would say take a longer tenure, but have the option of foreclosure surely, where you can double your EMI or maybe increase your EMI to any amount and foreclose it before the time as well. Some banks will give you, for example, a 25 years loan. They'll say you can't close it before 12 years. But after 12 years, you can do a foreclosure. For example, if your OPD shoots up, you're earning a good amount, then you can actually save in more and maybe pay back your loan and get rid of your liability at the earliest. And also, if you don't buy the house property on time and think of buying it in your 40s, your property prices may rocket. And usually these days, the RERA guidelines are there. Organized sector property is still growing. It is only the unorganized sector which has taken a beating after the demonetization in November 2016. It'll be 5 years of demonetization this year. But yes, the unorganized sector still in the lurch. The organized sector is still growing. So usually, because of the RERA guidelines, most of the realtors are offering it in the organized sector only, with a little bit of under the table black money. But people like Omax, Ambera, and all those are offering you in various societies. In Maharashtra, there are so many others also. But the sooner you buy, the lesser money you have to spend. Also, it earns you great respect if you manage to buy a home, say, home of your own. So, because many of our peers would live in rented houses, it is a moment of pride for us. Secure yours and your loved one. Sir ke upar chhat hona is one of the proudest feelings you can have, especially for those who are actually not having it over there. So, how can you prepare to become homeowners? So, number one thing is make up your mind. Make up your mind का मतलब है कि अपना life goal orient कीजिए. Yes, if you have a life goal clearly, then you can go ahead and plan it that ways. So you have to be clear of distractions, have a clarity of thought, always have the location selection first, then you see yourself with a good number of years. Search the real estate market trends in your city and start saving for it, and save smart. Do not just save. Always say big ticket investment is the realtors will also demand your 10 to 20% down payment, because the loans also usually the slabs are there. Even for the gold loan also, the RBI guidelines say you can't have 75% of the principal amount. Even for the home loan, the guidelines are up to maximum 80 to 90% as well. So the similar amount would be demanded as a down payment for some. So your eyes should be on those schemes that can fetch you that amount. मेरे को इतना पैसा चाहिए, इतने years में चाहिए, I can invest this. Use the rule of 72 and invest in those schemes which can give you that amount in that years. So you don't say आज मैंने सोच लिया मैंने घर लेना तो मैं कल को down payment कराऊंगा. Yes, you have that source, that is fine, but make yourself disciplined and grow in that direction. That is where you can actually earn more. So the only thing which can help you is the equity saving, not the ALS exactly, but the equity mutual funds, which have the potential to double the returns in 5 to 6 years flat, some even less than that. But yes, the ELSS still with the tax advantage give you a little bit less. Some ELSS still give you 16 to 18%, but on an average, the ELSS returns are 9 to 12. The equity returns can vary from 12 to 36, 12 to 40 as well. Yes, there are mutual funds which are giving 36 to 40 as well. But yes, there are small caps sometimes. They are from unorganized sector as well. They come with a huge risk also. So take your risks accordingly. So then clear away your debts. It is rare to see people even in the 30s living with their income. The loans and the credit cards actually start eating up into our expenses, especially if someone has an education loan. So it is sometimes difficult if your earlier loans have not been accomplished and you have a bad score. The housing loan can be a big bad thing or a big bag blot which you cannot actually recover. So always improve your credit score because otherwise the home loan, which is a big ticket loan, it cannot be granted that easily. Always you can negotiate some rebate in your interest. Those things are negotiable by different banks. So you can do the paperwork also, keep your proofs, IDs, PAN, ITR, Aadhaar ready, photographs as well, because there will be processing charges, there will be form charges, so many charges when you have to apply for the loan. I've discussed all those aspects in the loan videos. You can go through them. So your eligibility factors also, what exactly are those? They can help you make a informed decision. So because most banks have their criteria on their websites already. So whether see before applying, see before burning that fee of the form or an application fee also, whether you're there or not. People actually look at the interest percentage. Don't look at that. Look at the APR, the total percentage of rate of interest that you have to pay. So always prepare for the whole package and not just the house price only, because sometimes the down payment and the EMIs won't stop. Sometimes you will need to do a property registration and the stamp duty expenses also. Those sometimes will cost you a bomb. Stamp duty is on an average 5 to 9%. The females usually in every state have 2% less of duty. So you can maybe think of investing the same in your wife's name also. Maybe a co-borrower of the loan. So both of you can take an advantage of the interest in your ITR under section 24. So obviously then the house would be needing to do the interiors, maintenance, yearly property taxes. It still would have a running cost whenever it is there. So work towards the goal earlier, the better it is. So yes, this is now my age. Life begins at 40. As I said, गोरे जवानी 40 पे होते हैं. हम गोरे नहीं हैं, Indians हैं, but yes, we are also. The last 39 years has just been practice for me. So this is the 40 years. I'm into the 5th year of my life. So I'm just 5 years old. So when I turn 6 in September, do wish me the 6th birthday only. Don't wish me 45th birthday. So jokes apart, life begins at 40 for some, because there are so many things which you have to realize that yes, we have hard earned the money. We have a lot of hard earned money by this age, and we should plan our investments accordingly. With increasing age, our risk appetite decreases because our liabilities, our responsibilities go on increasing. But if you are in your 40s and you have not started towards your investments diligently, trust me, this is the time to start. Even if you are there, you still have close to 20 years or so to save for your future. And 20 years is not a small time. So even if you are in 20s or 40s, 20s में कोई करता नहीं है, 30s में पता नहीं होता है, तो शुरू करते करते 40s आ ही जाते हैं. For many people, I would say, at least the dentists, if I'm concerned, or even the doctors. Because for us, traditionally before demonetization, doctors की सबसे favorite investment होती थी real estate, जो returns देती भी थी, 20, 30, 40% तक returns देती थी, but usually in the unorganized sector. Ever since the demo exercise, nothing has been working in that regard. So you need to make sure that अब आपने रिवर्स प्लानिंग करनी है. मेरे को 60 पे 2 करोड़, 5 करोड़, 10 करोड़, वट एवर अमाउंट यू नीड इज द रिक्वायर्ड. एंड उसके लिए मैं आज अगर इन्वेस्ट करना शुरू करूं, हाउ मच इन्वेस्टमेंट आई हैव टू मेक फॉर दीज 20 years, 15 years, whatever time you have in hand. And there are a lot of calculators available online. Put in the total amount, put in the time you have, and put in the average return that you are planning to invest in. It will give you the amount that you need to invest every month. I told you at the start, 5 लाख 12 से 15 साल अगर आप डाल देंगे, it'll still give you a huge corpus at the end of 30 years. But now if you have 20 years, 25 years, you have to think accordingly. Maybe the amount can be increased more than 5, of course. That is the thing. We actually do it in portfolio analysis, which I do for many colleagues. So what is the significance of investment planning in the 40s? So our generation believes 40 is the new 30. So I am as old as you, most of you, if you are 30 something. So nobody is getting any younger. The problem is this only: the bodies do age, the instincts do get lesser, the reflexes get slower. I find that every week, twice on my cricket field, the reflexes are getting slower each year. We have a game on Wednesday and Saturday, so I do find that. But yes, once you get the opportunity, you have to make the most of it. So investment usually is towards your, say, we have to think of keeping our financial responsibility, home responsibility, and a family responsibility in the mind. So it may not seem enough, but manage the rising expenses and the demands of our kids especially, and then balancing it out with our incomes, with our investments, and also balancing it with the COVID times when the incomes have actually dropped. So nobody ever thought it, but yes, this is the new reality that we are living with. So either we have been living beyond our means if we are not invested so far, which can be actually challenging for some. So the only thing is that investment plan ensures that our money is invested wisely in good rewarding schemes, so that we can rely on the scheme in future. Trust me, this is the last second last stage when you have to worry that yes, your retirement is not much far away. 15, if you're 45, it might seem like 15 years in that regard. You may continue to work till 70, that is not the thing, but you have to still set a mental goal. Dentistry is not a very kind profession. You need to make sure that many a times our neck and back will give way. We will not be performing with the same efficiency always. And of course, the cutthroat competition will start beating down our spine. So we need to be aware of all those factors. And then China will continue to play COVID-26, COVID-32 as well. Sorry for that, but you never know what is China up to. And I really feel bad that the whole world is so meek enough to ask one country, China, to actually hand over the evidence or maybe do a proper investigation to Wuhan. I was actually shocked when Chinese External Affairs Minister yesterday said Chinese Wuhan lab deserves a Nobel Prize. The argument that they gave was that जिसने एड्स डिस्कवर किया या लुई पैस्चर जिसने बैक्टीरिया डिस्कवर किया, अगर उस पे इल्जाम लगता टू स्प्रेड द वायरस बैक्टीरिया और व्हाटएवर, तो would have that been feasible? So similar way, the Wuhan people gave the maximum research to the world, as they say, and they already gave their country's highest civilian research award to the Wuhan lab. And yesterday night only I was listening to the news, and I was like, मतलब दुनिया या तो डरपोक हो गई या बेवकूफ हो गई. So countries like US, who used to hold the world at ransom, don't have the power to just ask the China even once. I don't know. Let's come back and wind up the session now. So things to consider for investment planning at 40. Number one, obviously your financial responsibilities. Your kids are growing up. They would have their careers, maybe their education at stake. And obviously we might be having increased earnings as well. So we have to decide wisely where we actually segregate our money. 20s, 30s में उतना नहीं होता, जहां मर्जी खर्च दो, जैसे मर्जी खर्च दो. 40s में fathers actually become more conscious. वो अपने लिए पैंट या शर्ट नहीं लेंगे, फैमिली को चाहे जो मर्जी लेके देते रहे, नहीं नहीं मेरी ठीक है पैंट शर्ट. It happens with most of the fathers usually. Yes, happens with mothers also. I am not denying their contribution, but what I mean to say is that this thing usually happens, and people start to have that feeling in the 40s that they save for more for their kids, or maybe for their other benefits. They'll do that because other things will then start for their own preference would start taking a back seat. So the few things which you have to think is spending on family, your children's education, your health expenses, because with increasing age, certain things would come uninvited. Your household expenses, your future savings, obviously all these issues have to be considered if you are in your 40s and thinking about other things. Then focus on the savings. The inflation is rising. The government figures used to be 3, 4, 5%. Now even the government figures are 6.3, 6.4%. The cost of living is increasing. And trust me, abhi hamare wants are controlled. There are no movies, multiplexes. There are no major hill stations opened up. Yes, people are still doing harakiri of repeating the second wave disaster thing again. 2 weeks back, almost 1.5 weeks back, 7,500 vehicles crossed from the Himachal border from Punjab. Most of them would be Punjabis, I guess. So we take things for granted sometimes. But yes, we are still, I will say for the majority, the wants are still controlled. And still the cost of living is going beyond the controllable means. So we need to really do a proper budgeting and cut out the unnecessary and the unwanted expenses so that we can increase our savings. So because certain investments can be income generation as well, rather than just a lump sum return. So fixed deposit savings will give you some saving, but mutual funds and SIPs can generate the bigger income, the bigger say amounts, the bigger corpus which is there. So what is important in your 40s also is that you pick up the right kind of investments. So if you have not been picking up that earlier, you have to think of those schemes which will give you a good one. So know your risk profile and identify the right platforms. In your 40s, you can't take higher risk. Again, this is a unique situation. What your family's liabilities now are, which they were at 30, are they over now? Yes, your nuclear family liabilities will continue forever. But are your kids more demanding? Are your kids' education impending ones? Or maybe some of you might have married earlier. You may have a daughter even in your 40s with your marriageable age. Yes, it has happened with many. But then, yes, all kinds of situations are unique one. No two situations, even a batchmate who has passed out with me, even having the kids of same age as me, will not have the same responsibilities or the liabilities. They can vary as per from family to family. So the key is to understand your unique situation. The purpose of all these sessions is not to give you a ready-made thing that ye kar lo, ye kar lo, ye kar lo. That is a customized thing always. So if the consent form can be customized or has to be customized, the retirement investment planning also has to be customized. Your investment potential also has to be customized. So you can build a portfolio with the diversity, some amount of gold, equity, debt, and other exposures, whatever you feel can be apt, and not ignoring the two vital ways of investment, the PPF and NPS. Do watch that video that came in yesterday. So always plan and chart your budget, because if you have a higher standard of living, that would mean if you need to have a higher earning as well. So sometimes the saving plans can be disrupted. So always plan some budget in hand, and emergency funds can come handy if we have a COVID-like situation. So then education and marriage plans. sometimes people would say that these are the burdens which can actually be big time. You can think of undergoing a mutual fund for this also. But what I would say, the perfect plan for a girl child, especially for education and marriage, for higher education and for marriage, is the government plan, Sukanya Samriddhi plan. So applicable for girl child below 10 years of age, 21 years of scheme, you invest only till 15 years, and the rest of the 6 years the corpus grows. You have the option to withdraw the money if you need. In case of early marriage, in case of higher education, you can withdraw the money. But otherwise, if you don't withdraw the money, if you have invested for your kid at the age of 4 to 5, by the time your kid turns 25, 26, trust me, if you have been putting in a good amount, that corpus would be huge, and the marriage expense would be taken care of by that one single thing only, if you are diligent enough to realize that thing. The only thing is, people always say हर चीज में म्यूचुअल फंड, हर चीज के लिए म्यूचुअल फंड नहीं है. म्यूचुअल फंड बहुत चीजों के लिए गुड आंसर है, बट हर चीज के लिए नहीं है. सो ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, you can think of, maybe for education you can think of mutual fund, but something like a Sukanya Samriddhi can be handy for the kids marriage as well, or maybe sometimes for a higher education as well, if you want to prematurely withdraw that. So always think accordingly. There are customized options available for everyone. The only thing is, if you are willing to learn and willing to think out of the box. So then, insurance against the adversities. If you are having big ticket loans, you need to have term insurance plans as well. You would not want to leave big liabilities for your family. God forbid something happens to you. If you're not invested in term plans, do surely go ahead with the term plan. Do watch my video on YouTube. You'll get a lot of knowledge out of it and a lot of guidance out of it. And even I've given you the customized options also कि कौन सी company का plan लो. I've segregated everything out of those videos in each of these sessions: loans, medical insurance, health insurance, and the term insurance. I've given you in the end also कि इस company में ये advantage है, इस company में ये advantage है. Just care to look through that, because presently the number of views don't support the number of people, those of you who are in the group. So I don't mind that. It is your loss, not my loss in any ways. So again, always have an emergency fund also. Even in 40s, sometimes emergencies can strike you. So the right mix of liquidity and interest is important. And of course, this is one thing you cannot ignore at any age, more so in the 40s, because when time goes, you lose out on the time and you will soon be heading towards your retirement. So that is the time you can actually think of going towards that. Even some of you can think of early retirement as well. So even the pension plans will give you ATC benefits. So research the plans, seek professional help. If you are not adept enough, be financially literate yourself, assess all the investments. A lot of investments are given by me only. You can realize them, or there is a world out there on YouTube, on otherwise in Google. You can search so many things. So coming to the last section of today, the investment planning in your 50s. So life begins for 50 at some also. People tend to age gracefully and they don't regret growing older, because it is a privilege that is dented to many. So turning 50 is a landmark in many ways. For many people, they actually love to have some gray hair on their head and on their face. So because 50 will bring its own set of challenges as well. So there may be financial expenses like kids' college education and other costs that can take up your space. You should have your investment plans in place by now, I hope, if you started in 20s, if not in 30s, if not in 40s. So even if you have not started by 50s, it is better that this is the last opportunity that you have. There is nothing beyond that. The next opportunity would be to have a nil amount, maybe to live in present, enjoy, and let the kids grow on their own and curse their father. Tala baap hamare liye kuch chhod ke nahi gaya. So whatever, it is a personal choice, jokes apart. But if you have not done, you can still do a last ditch resort in your 50s, because what you did in your 20s, 30s, and 40s will be different what you do is in 40s, in your 50s, sorry. So how do you start actually do that? Again, reverse planning will have to be done. How much money you need, and accordingly the calculators will come into place. Expense कितना है, need कितनी है, मैं एक month में कितना डाल सकता हूँ. But still remember, you have to put an extra amount to gain some parity with the corpus, because you have lost out on at least 25 years of investment, or at least bare minimum 20 years of investment. If you are early 50s, you have lost out on 20 years of investment, and that cannot be repealed by any amount unless you're say earning filthy rich. So you need to remember, for example, if your need is 50,000 per month, you need to take the inflation factor also into account, because that will push your budget to 70,000 in just a 6 years period. So you need to make sure that you have 70,000 at the end of 60 years, because the inflation will eat up into that. If the same rate of inflation grows in 10 years time, your inflation will touch 90,000. So accordingly, your retirement corpus has to be thought of कि मेरे को 20 साल के लिए पर मंथ के लिए इन्फ्लेशन के हिसाब से कितना पैसा चाहिए. For example, in 10 years time, that 10,000 that you have will turn into 7,000 if it is not growing, for example. So accordingly, your monthly expenses will go up. So the double beating of the situation would be there. So focus on your savings. If you're still not saved enough, boost your investments, because this is your last chance to do that. You can opt for investments with a higher rate of return, but yes, you can still not take a huge risk, because the equity exposure still would be 100 minus your age or 80 minus your age. Your exposure has to be limited now. If you plan to put in a huge amount in equity, remember you are taking a risk, because you are not giving your money a longer time to grow. All the risks that we take in the younger are taken care of by the time period we stay invested. Even if the market goes down, even if there are more more troughs than crests, so they would say the time would compensate for most of the time. But here, if there is a prolonged recession for 5 years, the money doesn't grow only for 5 years. The remaining 5 years, you can't expect it to go gargantuan proportions. So remember those things in life. You still have to need a balance between your equity and the risk taking ability. Just because आप लेट हो गए हो इन्वेस्ट करने में, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आपका पैसा भी आपके हिसाब से ग्रो करेगा. Remember that one line. You need to take that into account, because you have impending liabilities. पैसा डूब गया, बीमारियां खरीद के ले आओगे बिना कॉस्ट के, free of cost rather, I would say. Blood pressure, diabetes, and so many other things. Stress, which can be a big killer also. So remember, always be very wise. And then people say, if you have not done, you can still put in 35 to 40% of your gross earnings to still build up a good corpus in 10 years time. Or maybe you have to stay, then keep working till 65 also. That is the time period you can't actually choose your retirement. That is the problem that you need to take into account, keep into mind, that you always that. Because mutual funds there will be mutual funds also which can meet your low risk profile, and then you can invest in those also. But then be thorough in your research, and always take a financial advice if you want. Revisit your portfolio. If you already have it, it is time to revisit it. It is time to rebalance it. Don't take unnecessary risks at this stage. Always reduce your equity percentage, equity exposure, more to debt percentage, more to G-Secs, more to the, say, fixed amounts. But yes, your risky things should be replaced a great deal with safer options. You can, as I mentioned, shuffle the debt and the equity part surely. And don't depend on the PF alone. Those who are salaried, trust me, if we are not salaried, we are not getting the PF also. For those who are self-employed, will not get a provident fund. So our only provident fund will be our retirement fund if we save for that till our, say, last breath, or till our retirement age, whatever. So if you have 10 years to retirement, start your investment with equities and gradually shift to safer options as you grow. If you get a good return in 5-year period, shift your risk exposure. Don't be greedy. Don't be too much extravagant in that regard. Obviously, ये बैलेंस करने के लिए आपकी हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस जरूर चाहिए, बिकॉज विद इंक्रीजिंग एज देयर विल बी डिजीजेस, unless you are very disciplined, very say diligent in your exercise, diligent in your diet, and diligent in your lifestyle, and diligent in your mind, that you don't let your stress affect you unwantedly. But still, apart from all these things, and of course have a game in your schedule till whatever time you can play. So if you're not if you're having all these, still you can attract a health issue. We all saw that so many youngsters also lost their life to COVID, and also spent a bomb in the hospitals and then lost their life. So the biggest takeaway in the age of 50 is do not get yourself entangled in a new loan, but because that would mean that you are actually compromising on your retirement corpus. इस वक्त आपके पास चॉइसेस बहुत कम है, नंगा नहाएगा क्या, निचोड़ेगा क्या. सो दैट इज द एज ऑफ 50. आप लोन्स भी लेना चाहते हो, आपने कॉर्पस भी नहीं जोड़ा, आपके पास इमरजेंसी फंड भी नहीं है, आपके बच्चों के लिए भी नहीं है, जस्ट बिकॉज यू हैव बीन लिविंग अ लाइफ ऑफ अ किंग, लिविंग लाइफ इन प्रेजेंट ऑलवेज, नॉट थिंकिंग अबाउट द फ्यूचर. ये कि अपने आप आएगा 50 पे, देखा जाएगा. देखा जाएगा इज अ वर्ड यूज्ड इन हिंदी, एंड इन पंजाबी वी यूज अ वेरी कॉमन वर्ड, कुछ नहीं होता देखा जाएगा, या कुछ नहीं होता. कुछ नहीं होता is a very dangerous word that we use in Punjabi, of course in Hindi also, and trust me, a lot many Punjabis use this word, and this is a very dangerous thing when it comes to especially planning your financial future. uh, Obviously, if you're having old EMIs, fine, pay them, especially if it is pertaining to home loan taken in your 30s, that should be winding up in any time in your 50s. Don't get a new loan, because that would add an unnecessary burden. You never know, your earnings would also decrease. You would be at a higher risk, considering in COVID we saw 50 plus and 60 plus stop going to clinics. So it will put a big dent in your savings also in that times. So if you need money for your kids' higher education, you take an education loan with your child as the primary borrower. As I said, your child would be 18 plus, so make him a borrower. You be a co-borrower along with that, so that he pays back from his salary the education loan, whatever he's going to take. There is a lot of flexibility in that loan. You can even start paying that loan even after the completion of the education. So again, that part has been discussed in detail in the loan section. So make sure that you don't burn your savings, and also this will inculcate, जब बच्चे को खुद अपनी EMI देनी पड़ेगी, तो discipline will start from his 20s only. So you don't need to actually do. That is the reason I say the first lessons come from the parents only. They are your first teachers. Mothers, even if they're housewife, will give you budgeting. They are the excellent managers in that regard. The fathers will give you otherwise financial lessons. So even 50s would not be an uphill task, but if you cross 50s and you reach 60 and you have nothing in your hand, trust me, that is the time that you can panic, that you will need to panic. So always keep your plan simple. Always keep your life very simple, basic and simplified, and prioritize your needs over your wants. And always seek help from a financial professional if you're not ready to do so. And alternatively, you can visit my YouTube channel, which has almost all the ready-made recipes now on all the assets, all the facets of finance now. So let me just give you the summary for today's session. I know I have extended by 10 minutes or so, but sorry for that. But yes, there were certain points which needed explanation, and I couldn't keep that 50 thing in the next session, because there are a few things which are already to be done in that session itself. So I had to stretch it a little bit. Sorry for getting you late. So we all have a habit of dreaming big, especially when we are asleep. सपने में हम बीच हाउस पे चले जाते हैं, BMW खरीद लेते हैं, इवन चांद पे भी जमीन खरीद लेते हैं. We know that. But then sometimes in our lifetime we believe ये चीजें वही होती हैं, we believe that we are not that much adept, or maybe we can't buy such things, and we start to compromise our aspirations. But then wealth creation is not a single day effort. It is a time consuming effort, and you have to be consistent and disciplined. So let me give you 4 steps which can help you do a wealth creation as a summary for today. So the number 1 part is budgeting, save smartly. Sorry. So saving is the first step towards accumulating your capital. When I say save smartly, I don't mean save whatever you have at the end of the month, but rather reverse. Learn to plan your expenses that you save every month surely, consistently, and in a disciplined manner. So always set aside what you are going to invest, and with the remaining funds, you plan your monthly expenditures. Do a proper budgeting. For example, with a monthly salary of 1 lakh, if you save 30,000, set aside your 30,000 for your savings or your investments. That is the way to go about it, and live your life in the remaining 70,000. So SIPs are the one which actually enable you to turn your monthly savings into investments. And saving isn't always enough. Channel your monthly savings into investments based on your financial needs, and your investments should have a goal and your goals tenure before you choose the appropriate investment method. Not an impossible mission, but just has to be done correctly. Then what you need to do, Specify your financial target कि मुझे vacation पे जाना है, मुझे vehicle खरीदना है, मुझे retirement के लिए plan करना है, amongst other things. So base your target on those objectives and plan accordingly. Thirdly, choose the right fund which can give you good tenure and good returns. And obviously, the SIP is the best way to do that diligently. Step 3, increase your investment periodically. When your income rises, your savings should rise proportionally as well, because that is the time you can actually put in more for your future. That is where you can actually take advantage of the time which you have lost in a way, even at an early stage. Because if you're putting in more, you're compensating for the time lost and you're giving more of your money even further time to grow. That is the thing you need to think of. So even if you get a 10% raise at the end of first year in your salary or in your clinic income, increase the portion of investments also by 10% accordingly. Accordingly, whatever you're saving, it should go on in sync with if your expenses are rising, your savings should also rise, your investment should also rise. So all these have to work in unison. Similarly, if you're 20%, go ahead in a similar manner, go there. So the last step in this is invest lump sum whenever possible. Always, instead of splurging the whole amount, when you collect a lump sum like a bonus, like a maturity amount, invest a portion of it in your current mutual fund. Your money will grow faster and will benefit you in two ways, because either you will meet your goal ahead of your schedule, or you would want to keep the tenure unchanged. The amount you earn at maturity would be greater than the target amount. या तो goal जल्दी मिल जाएगा या amount ज़्यादा मिलेगा. So remember, this thing is there. So if you are hungry and too tired or too busy after a long day, even I had a very long day, but I'm charged with full energy even at this hour. So let me give you the carry home gyan, the quintessential compulsory one, surely. What does financial freedom do? What does debt do? Buys you time, wastes time, net worth driven, income driven, goal driven, work driven, pays self first, pays other first. Success is an obligation in financial freedom. Success is evil. Invests money, spends money, uses debt for investment, uses debt for spending. Thinks with both, thinks with one or the other. Has plan, has budget, expands, contracts, make things happen to them. Reads and studies, refuses to study. Responsible, blames others. Attention on the future, attention on the past. Thinks in solutions, thinks in problems. So always think of financial freedom. The FF, never think of the debt. Lastly, if you have stayed till the end, a few of you have already left for your dinner. So I'll give you 15 rules for financial freedom. Rule number 1, there is a price to pay always. Rule number 2, there is time to give. Rule number 3, there is patience to observe. Rule number 4, there is a seed to sow. Rule number 5, there is education to acquire. Rule number 6, there is a process to follow. Rule number 7, there are principles to obey. Rule number 8, there is a cause of alarm when you're poor. Rule number 9, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Rule number 10, quitters never win and winners never quit. Rule number 11, road to success for both men and women is with faith. Rule number, faith in the top floor and faith in the Almighty. Rule number 12, poverty is a risk, wealth is a risk as well. So the more the analysis, the more the paralysis. Sorry, the word spelling. So the analysis paralysis, which I commonly use is. So financial freedom is not a chance. It is a choice that we all have starting from the 20s. So if you haven't made your choice correctly, you know whom to blame, yourself. Rule number 15, your destiny is in your hands. Whatever you want to do, this is the reason. And financial freedom is possible for you if you play by the rules. So 3 more rules for you. The more you learn, the more you earn. Don't chase money, attract money. And stay poor until you really get rich. So the moral of the story, late President Shri Abul Kalam Azad, APJ Kalam, life will never provide warranties and guarantees. It can only provide possibilities and opportunities to convert them into success. So trust me, whatever webinars and YouTube videos I have garnered for you, these are opportunities for you. If you want to learn, if you want to succeed in life, these are a few opportunities for you. Trust me, saal pehle main agar sochun, I did my first webinar on 25th March. I started my channel or revived my channel with one video it had since 2008. First video was launched with the, say, push from my good friend Dr. Thind in June, early June 2020. And I started my own webinars in August. These were only the few scattered webinars that I posted from June to July. Posted my own webinars from 5th of August onwards. And in less than my own webinars, there are more than 300 plus videos on my channel. Yes, a few have double and triple views as well, but still there are close to 200 plus videos individually. So it was not built in a day. It has all have come with a drop by drop effort, and all of them are not our 2-minute videos. Even my short videos are 10 minutes sometimes. There are a lot of 2-hour webinars. You all know this is a 32 MPG webinar. Last year I took 22 webinars, so just 54 webinars for this group only. Apart from the free webinars that I took separately, 5 or 6 in this session. So there will be close, if you talk of the webinars I took with the other one, there will be close to 80, 90 webinars only that I've taken up, 2 hours plus 1.5 hours. So it has been built from scratch. But if you are waiting for that one Sunday जिस दिन आप बैठ के सारे वीडियोस देखोगे तो 200-250 वीडियो देखने के लिए 400 घंटे चाहिए. तो 400 घंटे कब आएंगे? You maximum can spare 2 to 3 hours a day. So always finish what you can in a given day. Don't wait for the right time to come, even when it is to utilize the time, even when it is for investment, because the time right is today itself. If you can't utilize today, कल को आप में कोई दिव्य शक्ति नहीं आ जाएगी कि आप उसको यूटिलाइज कर लेंगे. So coming up a few things. 30th June, that is my dad's day, my dad's 2nd death anniversary. Most of you have been sending me requests for a mutual fund webinar. That is not possible because that is a huge topic. I can't cover it even in 10 sessions. So the shortest we have thought is 15 short videos already recorded, placed, but still in private mode, so won't be visible. They'll be scheduled from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Every 1 hour, you'll be getting a video, one every hour. Duration would be 5 to 6 minutes. One video is 8 minutes, I guess, but the rest are close to 5 to 6 minutes only. That'll cover A to Z of all the mutual funds. So one thing that is not left to be discussed in detail, that will be covered up on the 30th of June in the form of short videos. So again, automated thing, I don't have to do anything for it. But for what I have to do is, I'll be taking a Facebook Live on the Dentcraft Academy of Dental Sciences. Thanks to Dr. Harshil. I did my webinar, I did my workshop with him in August 2019. So that'll be from 3 to 5 p.m. Know your cost, the road to a profitable dentistry. If some of you missed the costing session, this will be a concise one, which will be there on that. A similar session on that day on the WDA platform from where it all started, because that was my first webinar. Anand called me up on 22nd, 23rd. Sir, lockdown kar diya, Modi ji ne, ab aap webinar karo. I said, Anand, it is not possible because I hate the camera and the camera doubly hates me back. I'm not really happy with the camera. I have never taken a selfie also. I hate to take a selfie also. Sir, करना तो पड़ेगा, आप करो. आपका topic clinical नहीं है ना, तो utilize होगा. Fine. So that was the first webinar I took up on the day of Gudi Padwa, 25th March 2020. And life comes a full circle in 15 months time. I'll be doing, they are just a call away. I just told them that this is a special day. I want to do a webinar. So I said, रात को 9 बजे करेंगे. हमारे सारे webinars उसी time होते हैं. I said, game for it. No problem. So these are the 2 webinars that are coming up. So thank you so much for a patient hearing. Sorry to keep you waiting for your dinner. I know it has been 20 minutes longer than what I expected. But yes, to put in certain points as per age, as to give a correlation between the two, that was necessary. So again, a change in the slide. If, my YouTube channel link, if you're not subscribed to it, do subscribe. Go to the channel. If you forget, just search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja on YouTube. You'll find the link. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. And I keep on posting a video daily, not every week. I keep a post video daily. This is my email and website. You're already aware of it. So a change in this also. This is my social media presence, all by my name except my page, Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. So I'll be debuting on Clubhouse also on the occasion of Doctor's Day and CA Day, 1st July, 7:30. I'll be having my first drop-in audio on Clubhouse on financial matters. So stay tuned for that. I'll be announcing that in the group. So my 2 WhatsApp groups, if you want to add a colleague over there, you can always add. You can send me on my WhatsApp in my personal chat. I will add the colleagues. So do send me your valuable feedback in the WhatsApp group, wherever you are. Bookers and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure. So thank you once again. and I stop my share for queries from any of you. Firstly, I'll be taking up from the chat, and then I'll be discussing with you always whatever you want to ask from me. Okay. Yes, Prabjit, I remember you asked me, you and Raghu were say, सही में पहले क्यों नहीं मिला? Never mind, it is better late than never. So why open joint account in post office? Dr. Divya, it gives you 7,000 rebate. The single account will give you 3,500. So that is the big difference. You can keep emergency of 1 lakh and 2 lakh respectively. So that is a tax-free amount. Why leave? My dad always said one thing. जहां से tax free option मिलता है उसको कभी छोड़ने का नहीं. Always tap all the tax free options of the government, because rarely the government would give it. And similar, the reason I used to have a lot of RDs as well till Mr. Jaitley stopped that advantage in 2015 or 16. Again, won't say anything bad since he's no more. They say you don't talk rubbish about dead people, or people who have left this world, not dead people. Sorry, people who have left this world. You don't talk rubbish about them. But he was instrumental in making RD taxable, surely. So post office saving, yes, it is an excellent fund tip. Yes, Prabjit, you can keep that amounts over and above your emergency fund as a separate amount, which is growing continuously, and you pay a peanut amount on the tax. You can keep even a bigger amount as well. Still, your liability would be 30% only of the remainder amount above 7,000.
Yes.
So Dr. Suneet, my 20 years son just delivered architect. Listen to the seminar 20s part intently and appreciated it a lot. Well briefed. Dr. Suneet Arora is a Ayurvedic surgeon just opposite my house. At the backside of my clinic is my house, and he is an Ayurvedic surgeon. He and his wife are both Ayurvedic surgeons, and they live just opposite to my house. Has been a very good friend and a support. So thank you, Suneet sir. So thank you. Well designed, informative. Thank you. Time to utilize this today. Superb session. Thank you, Dr. Harshada. I hope you had a good workshop today. Thank you, Dr. Divya. Thank you, Dr. Vyangi. I want to ask, if one can invest rupees 2 lakh per annum, how should the division be? How much in PPF, how much in equity and others? This was a question that I answered very recently in the PPF and the NPS video. So I don't think you have watched that video. Watch that video. I've given segregation कि जिसने 2 लाख करना है वो किसमें करे, जिसने 3 लाख करना है, 4 लाख करना है, 5 लाख करना है वो किसमें करे. Watch that video on PPF and NPS. You will actually get benefited from that. And if you still don't get your answer, contact me in the personal chat. I'll give you the answer. So thank you, Dr. Bhavna. Thank you, Dr. Harshada. Okay, great to have a workshop. Thank you, Dr. Madhavi. In last webinar, you asked your 2 friends to sell gold and pay debt at the rate around 60,000. Please make us learn right time to buy investment and sell it and re-enter. The only thing is sometimes when your urgent requirements surpass our limit, that is usually the best time to sell, I would say. If you have an asset, even for someone like 30s, married since maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, has a lot of loan already built up, can utilize with the consent of the wife, of course, with no emotional attachment to that, can sell off their gold as well to get rid of the loans. Sometimes it is not about that amount to sell. It is about the returns which you get out of that. Because once your loan liabilities are over, you can again start with a clean slate. As regards your question, remember gold was hovering around 42, 45,000. And in less than 6 months of the market crash in April 2020, in September, the gold actually gained 30% or more than 30%, I would say, and touched 60. So if an investment is touching almost giving you 60% return in a year, 30 in 6 months, means 60 in 1 year, that is already the peak. You really don't need to be even bothered. If someone sold it at 55, he even got it, let's say 20-22% return per 6 months, or maybe 40-45 for the year. Which investment will give you 45% return? So that was the time. You actually have to be aware of these things in your scenario. It is not about guiding. No one can time the market. Actually, only 2 people, as I mentioned, the liar and the God. They only can time the market properly. No one else can. So if your urgent requirement exceeds the limit, surely that is the time to get rid of certain assets and reduce your liabilities. That is the advice I would give to you, Dr. Deepak. So thank you, Dr. Rishabh. Okay, Dr. Divya, age-wise explanation was much needed. Yes, since each of us met your different ages. That is the reason I actually given you all the details of why planning, then why all the investments, their breakup, and today the age-wise portfolio construction part in depth. And you will find all the links joining together in the fourth session. Again, I told you I keep a structuring and sequencing in a particular way because of very reason, because I visualize and envisage the whole scenario, the whole thing first, and I then know which thing to fit in where. So that is the reason I say always use the top floor of your body. That is much required. All your but if together will become a best book in itself. YouTube video तो आप लोग देखते नहीं हो सारे, तो book best seller तो बनेंगे ना, खरीदोगे. वीडियो नहीं देखते लोग तो बुक कहाँ से खरीदेंगे? Never mind. I'm still going for it. Don't worry. That is my next on agenda. Always wanted to ask how much online Demat accounts are reliable. Demat account all are regulated by SEBI, so don't worry about those parts. The SEBI danda is very strict on all the companies, whether it is a CAMS or whether it is any other Sher Khan or any other Zerodha. All of them are, they continue to commit harakiris and they continue to pay fines and penalties charged by SEBI. So the guidelines are really tough. So everything is reliable in that sense. So, but still, I would advise you have a securities account with either the stock exchange or with a bank. That will be still a better option rather than a third party. Not that they are not reliable, but I have more trust on such securities in that sense. So again, you asked yourself, or we should go for Zerodha or traditional HDFC. I would prefer the latter. I would say the bank's part. Sorry, I just saw your question, but I think I already answered that. So all your slides, thank you. Okay, any more queries? Anyone wants to unmute and ask yourself? Please ask. I don't want to stand for much time between you and your dinner and your sleep. Even I have a game early morning. मेरे दोस्त बहुत निकम्मे हैं. I refused them to. I said I didn't get my sleep even last time. I will not come tomorrow. जबरदस्ती नाम डाले. 3 लोगों का फोन आ गया. तू तो दिल लगा के रखता वहाँ पे, तू कैसे मिस करेगा? क्या करो? Anyways, thank you, Dr. Vyangi. So do post your feedback in the groups wherever you are. It'll actually, and along with your take-home points, it'll actually motivate others to watch the videos whenever they come, because costing videos say is actually attributed to you guys only. You put in a feedback and people were motivated, and there were so many views on the channel. Still much below than what it desired. We are 3 lakh in number. So the views are not even in 1,000, they are in just hundreds. So I wanted it to reach. So that is why I'm taking these 2 sessions on dads and the WDA group. Again, these will be open for a limited time. In one of the sessions, I'll be giving the GPM and NPM in a little bit depth with more calculations. Not every slide would be the same as discussed. So even you, all of you who have watched those sessions, they surely will also have something to learn from those costing sessions, and the content would be different in both. So surely. So
in case of the Sukanya scheme, like that is for girls till 10 years of age. So like if you have elder daughters, so what other alternatives to be advised?
Then mutual fund has the only options for to grow for a longer period of time.
Okay.
My elder daughter was lucky; she was 9.5 when the Sukanya was launched.
Mm-hmm.
So I invested there and then only. For the initial couple of years, I didn't put in even full amount, but then I slowly realized and then started putting in full amount. And my younger daughter, I opened up her PPF and Sukanya account when she was 1 month old. And banker was like, "इसकी photo तो लाओ." मैं कहा, "photo ही है, ये तो hospital की photo है." मैं कहा, "और किसकी लाऊंगा मैं? Hospital में पैदा हुई है वो, और कहाँ की photo लाऊंगा?" चलिए इसकी प्रॉपर पासपोर्ट साइज फोटो खिलाओ। मैं कहा, उसका हेड स्टेबल नहीं है अभी, आपको अकाउंट खोलने की क्या जल्दी है? मैं कहा, इज इट नॉट अलाउड? नहीं सर, अलाउड है, खोलो फिर, बात खत्म। Why are you getting into all the details? Is it your matter? When I want to open a 1 month old daughter had a PPF and a Sukanya account. That is the earliest you can do it. पहला महीना बीत जाता ना इधर उधर के कामों में, इसलिए obviously lost out on that month, but that is the time actually. Since he was born in January, so I got it done in March and availed for that year also and next year also in April. So that was the advantage I took up. Both the
Right.
costing sessions will be different in their content on 30th June. They'll be 70% similar to what you have seen, but 30% content. Those who know me, my all sessions are different. My 30% content would be different in both of them. There'll be new slides on GPM, NPM as well. There'll be new calculations in that. Obviously, the base would be the same because the costing session has to be still put across to a wider audience. And WD has close to 1 lakh members. So obviously not all would be watching, but my way is to actually put across the concept so that they actually get to know what exactly is NPM and GPM, and they start thinking of those lines. And the only thing is to get people to my channel in one way or the other, so that once they come to the channel, they'll notice the content. If some of you found the content of KPIs good today, you know what exactly we all in for, how much importance all the KPIs do carry. And nobody teaches us these things. I'm lucky, I'm thankful to all the MPG members who actually pushed me, and these 6 months I've taken all the virgin sessions. These sessions have never been taken up by me also. I had a presentation for many of these, but I never thought that these would acquire an importance in today's times. COVID too actually brought many things more to the fore. How the clinic earnings can be channelized in a proper direction, how the finances need to be channelized in a proper direction, especially with the age part. So costing sessions will be 70% similar to what you have attended, but all in both of these 3 to 5 different content, not much of numbers given in 3 to 5, more of numbers, the calculations given in 9 to 11 session. So the 3 to 5 session would remain online for longer period. The 9 to 11, like costing session 3, 4, 5 would go offline after a certain amount of time, because we don't want it to, for the obvious reasons I mentioned at the start today. So this is the reason.
Sir, only one question.
Yeah.
If I have a account in a post office, both single and the joint, the amount which will be tax free is 7,000 only.
किसने बोला?
No, sir, this is my question.
7,000 in a joint account. सिंगल और जॉइंट दो नहीं रख सकते आप. 2 होंगे तो आपको एक का एडवांटेज मिलेगा.
Okay, that's the maximum will be 7,000.
7,000 upper limit, yeah. Did you get your answer for your credit score, CIBIL score?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Surely. I had that slide already, so I wanted you to attend and pick up that from there. Any more queries, or we call it a day? Okay, then. Great to have you there. Monday, 8 p.m. Session number 4.
Yes.
So when will the video 3, 4, 5 be again for public viewing? The costing one?
In less than 1 hour from today. In less than 1 hour from now, sorry.
Till what time, sir?
Monday early morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever time I get up.
Okay.
So, abhi main message डाल दूंगा group में. The videos will be open. I'll be put in before 11 p.m. They'll be open, and you have close to 55 hours to watch them again.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
guys.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Do
Good night,
posting your
sir.
feedback in the groups. I'll really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Take care.
Sure,
Have a
sir.
great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too, sir. Bye.
Yes, sir.